Greetings, fellow armchair Imagineers. Tiki here.
And Blue Dragon 5.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we find ourselves on the cusp of Disney's big venture into the world of streaming, even courting a war in the process, we thought it'd be nice to stay up to date on the ever-growing catalog and rule on what's a must or a bust on Disney Plus. And tonight, what if we brought in Casey Mikalonis? How you doing, Casey? Did I mess up your last name?
Yes.
You did. It's Mikalonis,
Awesome.
but it's all good. Everyone always gets it wrong, but I'm doing well.
I should have double-checked before we went live.
It's all good.
No, seriously, give yourself a proper introduction. I want to get your last name right.
Oh, okay. Yeah, my name is Casey Mikalonis. Thank you for having me on.
Mikalonis. All right. God, that's too many syllables.
Mikalonian.
Yeah. Okay, that's an easy way to remember it, Dragon. Thank you.
Yeah. Right now, that's all the way. Let's tell them why we're really here.
All right, so yeah, we're here to talk What If. Of course, this is the big, highly anticipated animated, the first animated MCU venture, and it's very exciting. I really love the premise of it. What I really love about it is kind of like the Twilight Zone vibe that we've been getting from it. I'm really in love with the framing device with the Watcher. But before we go too far into it, Casey, I just want to give you a chance to kind of, since this is your first time on the channel, we've been communicating with each other for a couple months, so I think we know each other, but why don't you introduce yourself?
All right. So, my name's Casey Mikalonis. I'm a video editor. I also do podcasts as well, although my podcasts are generally on the more like niche market. But yeah, I don't do a whole lot else, aside from video editing and podcasting, aside from, little things, nerd culture. So I'm always interested in Marvel stuff.
I mean, you might have one particularly exciting project down the line, but I'll leave it to you to veer caution if you want to advertise that or not.
I wasn't sure if I was able to plug just yet, but yes,
yeah, by all means, go for it. Like, it's literally why I have you on. So
awesome. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So, I have a web series coming out. It is an online reality competition. It was a game that we filmed over the course of 2 days with 14 contestants. And right now we are dropping the promos on the Facebook and the YouTube page. But the game is called Prometheus. You can find it on Facebook at facebook.com/prometheus.webseries. So look out for the current promos of the roster, and hopefully within the next 2 weeks, the actual first episode.
I'm both equally excited and nervous for that. It'll be awesome. All right. And I will, the links aren't on there now because I am not a smart man, as Dragon knows. But I will put those links in the description as soon as we're done here, Casey.
Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. All right. So we got Honeybee in the comments. They say, I like how in the trailer they just ignore Agent Carter.
Yes, if I...
as in, like, the show Agent Carter?
Yeah, so I can explain this. So
Okay.
Okay, so I want to say Honeybee specifically, I mean, the trailer too, but I think specifically Honeybee's referring to the Marvel Legends thing is pretty much just like a recap of all the things leading up to that. Now, unfortunately, Kevin Feige, again, I love the man with the exception of one thing. That he's been really...
It's like a kryptonite dragon.
It's like the one thing is I adore Kevin Feige and all the wonders that he's done, but just recently, even James Gunn, beloved James Gunn, they've been doubling down on, like, basically all the shows pre-Disney Plus.
Come on, Kevin, your management of the TV side of things could use some work. And I would even argue on the Disney Plus side of things, we're getting maybe too much.
So the point being, so they did like on Marvel Legends, they do kind of like a recap kind of clip show, basically catching up before the shows or before, the episodes they're going to introduce or do something with these characters. And Agent Carter, very noticeably, they use the Agent Carter short, like the one shot that essentially it's the formation of S.H.I.E.L.D. ending, which we said, if we never got in the Agent Carter show, you always had that short to kind of facilitate. And that's where the Bradley Whitford...
I am very much in Honeybee's camp here then. It's still canon, I swear.
It's canon to me, buddy.
May I actually chime in on that?
Yeah, go ahead, Casey.
It was about 2 months ago. I think it was actually in May. There was some sort of shift. Now, if I would have known this would have even been something to talk about, I would have did my research a little bit. But back in May, something happened that essentially moved Agent Carter and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., those 2 shows officially into, I guess, the Legends category of Marvel.
I know what happened there,
Yeah, so if anyone's familiar with Star Wars...
I knew about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and I didn't care, but man, Agent Carter is legitimately great storytelling.
I 100% agree with you. I think at the time that Agent Carter was airing, I was starting to get a little bit bored with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but I will say, by the end of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I very much really liked Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which I actually have some Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. notes right now in front of me.
The last season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. really picked up big time, by the way.
I think the last couple seasons, I was all for it, especially the alternate timeline season. So I think that was the second to last season.
Right, that would have been, I think, was that
season 6?
Yeah, it was probably 6. I did kind of like a split that kind of threw everyone off, so I think you're right, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the last 3 or 4 seasons of that show were all kind of almost to an extent one-off seasons. You had the Agents of Hydra season, the alternate timeline season, and I like I said, I really actually enjoyed the last few seasons of that show. And it's a shame that I guess it is officially moved to the Legends category.
Which again,
called Legends, by the way, or are they just straight up taken wholesale from Star Wars?
I think it's kind of well. Here's the thing: see, Marvel Legends has been like the toy brand and everything for a long time. So they're kind of borrowing the Legends name from that. And right now, the little recap thing they have is called Marvel Legends. But this thing, I think it's just like an arbitrary title. Just kind of need to call this category of non-specific MCU stuff, at least now non-specific MCU stuff, something. So I think it's more of an arbitrary title, but sure, Legends, yeah.
That's what I was referring to it as, due to the Star Wars being called that way. Whereas I don't think Marvel officially has any sort of non-canonical title to it.
Makes sense.
And again, so the one shot for Agent Carter introduced the Bradley Whitford character. So basically, the one shot shorts,
which basically where he came from.
Yeah, that's where he came from.
I was wondering. You see, I'm not like you guys. I'm more casual about this stuff. I still consider myself a big fan of the MCU, but I did not remember that Whitford was in the one shot.
Yeah, I love the Marvel one shots, by the way. I wish we kept them up, but so they did the short where basically if. In a pinch, if they ever need the show, okay, how did the SSR become? How did the SSR become S.H.I.E.L.D.? They always had that short in their back pocket to show you Howard Stark making a call to Peggy. Hey, you want to run S.H.I.E.L.D. with me? Sure.
I mean, you always have Winter Soldier as well. They explain it enough.
Yeah, I'm just saying if you wanted to see kind of the extra spoke to the wheel. But you're right, though. Yes, we do have a really memorable bit there where we see the 3 pictures on the wall with Phillips and the whole. You get it, yeah.
Okay, but Phillips.
Yeah, he is in this, but he gets killed.
Right. So, guys, we have an episode to talk about, so let's get to it. So first of all, guys, I swear we're gonna get to our thesis statements soon. I know we're drawing it out. I'm sorry. I want to announce an exciting new feature for the TV show recaps going forward, and that is that now that we have a community page, you all are going to help rank the episodes. So, essentially, every week when now I'm not going to do this for Monsters at Work because Monsters at Work is already mid-season. It's kind of towards the end.
Yeah, we're more than halfway through.
Yeah. But for pretty much every show moving forward that we cover on a weekly basis on the podcast, I'm going to put up a poll as soon as the episode drops, basically with a 1 to 5 star rating for each episode. And you all are going to vote, and we're going to rank each episode in each season based on your star ratings. So with that in mind, guys, we have the results for this week's episode. 1 out of 5 stars got 14%. 4 out of 5 stars got 14%. 5 out of 5 stars got 29%. But the winner, what you guys are ultimately going to give it, the letter grade, if you will, is a 3 out of 5 stars with 43%. Now, I got to say, from our audience, I was kind of surprised. I was sort of, because I know we've got a lot of Captain America fans. I was sort of expecting to be like, 5 out of 5 all the way, baby. So, nice. I'm actually kind of impressed by how you guys are looking at this in kind of an analytical way. Honeybee, I haven't actually watched the new episode of Monsters at Work yet. I'm waiting.
I have.
I'm waiting to cover it on the podcast.
Yeah.
I'm waiting to, I'm waiting to watch it before the podcast. But so, guys, and of course, any ties with the scores are going to be broken based on the percentages. But yeah, I'm very excited to get to kind of track the rankings going forward. Anyways, guys, we've got an episode to talk about. Casey, what do you think of it?
So it's funny that you're actually talking about ratings. Literally, the very last note on my page is 3 out of 5 stars.
Nice. Prophetic.
I think the thing is that oftentimes, actually really not oftentimes at all, every time when I rate something, because I went to film school, so it's kind of what they do is they tell you to look at things a little bit more analytically. So I don't generally rate things in terms of my enjoyment level. I'm rating them in terms of what I objectively see. So I think for this episode, it was a 3 out of 5. It was okay. It was good. It was safe. I think that is the key word. It was safe. You need a first episode to really, hopefully, hook in the audience. So what do? You take a story that everyone already knows and loves. Why people love Captain America, I don't know. I don't really care.
Boy. Watch your watch. Oh, God.
But here is what I will say, though.
I'm totally, honestly, that's really refreshing. But, I just want to let you know, Dragon is the biggest Captain America fan I know. So,
let him say what he's going to say. Keep going.
Before I continue to say what I'll say, I'll just say, Dragon, I'm sorry you have a wrong opinion. But anyway, going back to this whole Captain America thing, I think this is a safe episode. And I was just joking, Dragon. But yeah, I think this was a safe episode. It was a story that everyone knew. And honestly, I'd say about 60% of it, down to the imagery, was the same as the first Avenger. So I think that's what they did, is they took that and they just needed a safe story. I think a similar thing could be said about what Disney did years ago, or I guess you could say years ago at this point, with Star Wars Episode 7. They essentially rewrapped A New Hope. It's safe. They know it works and it's safe. And I think that's just kind of my overview. And that's why this gets, at best, I will say, at best, a 3 out of 5.
Okay, Dragon. I didn't know this was going to turn into a Disney debate, but apparently
it is not a Disney debate.
So, what do you think, Dragon?
Yeah, I love this so much. I have a few quibbles, but honestly,
I am right in the middle between you two. Honestly,
honestly, I do have some quibbles, and there is some credence to what Casey is saying. But I mean, for me, I think it's a dream come true. I'll never say no to more Peggy Carter, let alone Captain Carter. In this case, I just, of course, as I've said before, is with the show. Period is I adore What If already, and of course, I've always kind of dreamed what if they did. What if? Sorry. What if? Could you imagine if we brought What If into the MCU into What If? We fused the two together and just kind of all the wonders we could do if we applied What If to the MCU, and it's finally here and it's happened. I mean, I remember going into this. The only thing I was nervous about was the animation style. And also, I'm not crazy about, again, the fact that we couldn't get all the voices somehow with all that Disney money. We couldn't just get the last. There are only so few holdouts, and we couldn't get them. But again, that's
Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans did their time, Dragon.
Sure, they did their time.
Let
But
let him relax. I mean, I'm sure the MCU is going to literally come with a dump truck full of cash on their front lawn in a couple years. So,
See, with the whole voice actors thing, well, two things. One, before I actually get into the voice acting, I just want to say for everything that I did say about Captain America, more specifically, I'm talking about Steve Rogers. Love Peggy Carter. Absolutely love Peggy Carter. But in terms of the voice acting, yeah, it sucks that we couldn't have those last couple people in. But I think this episode just goes to show that even someone like Sebastian Stan, who, for those who don't know, plays Bucky, he was not a good voice actor. For
yeah.
this
Oh,
episode.
I'm really glad you bring that up, Casey. I think that Bucky was really off this episode. It was kind of weird.
Yeah, he wasn't good, and you
Sebastian Stan is just kind of like an awkward guy, just in general. So,
I mean, I think he does a good job acting in live action stuff, but voice acting is a different animal, and I think that does need to be acknowledged. I'd even say it's almost the same thing about Dominic Cooper, who plays young Howard Stark. He was good, but I think he tried to do too much, and his character came off too animated. I think it was too much. I think those were the two standout people that did not do a good job with their voice acting. But you have someone like Haley Atwell who did phenomenal.
And she has done this before, though. She has actually been able to voice act as Peggy Carter in other things. So she actually had experience with it, so she was able to acclimate herself to it, perhaps.
Correct me if I'm wrong, just because I'm blanking. Or, yeah, just not correct me if I'm wrong. Could you inform me, actually? What else did she voice act? I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, sure. I know the one for sure. I assume there might have been another case, but the main thing, she has voiced Peggy Carter in the crappier Marvel show, Avengers Assembled.
Oh no! Oh god!
So not the great Earth's Mightiest Heroes. No, not that one. That came pre MCU, at least. Well, the MCU was in its infancy, I should say, like kind of probably the Phase 1 era. But the Avengers Assembled, there was an episode on New Year's Eve where basically it was like Kang the Conqueror was attacking, appropriately enough, and you had Peggy Carter and Howard Stark. They basically got to interact with Cap and Tony. So it was kind of a nice little New Year's Eve episode. Anyway, so she was able to voice her there. And I don't know if she did the video game or not, because usually they've been able to get the actors for the video games, the crappier, the also not so great video games. From what I hear, the Captain America one was okay, but I haven't played it.
All right, fair enough.
Point being, I think she's
Guardians of the Galaxy is going to be pretty good, but it's not MCU.
Yeah, well, I played the Telltale Guardians game already, so this is going to be the second time.
Well, I shouldn't say Guardians is going to be good. Like I have hope for it, but it's done by Square, so you never know.
It's a toss-up.
I think I'd direct you to the Telltale game, Tiki, but it's
all right. So Honeybee says I'm a fan of Peggy, so I'm going to generously give it 4 stars. Also, we love you, Haley.
Yeah, Tiki and I, again, we covered all the Agent Carter episodes. We were very big fans of, particularly the first season. Oh my god, the first season it gets me as emotional as when I'm watching the end of Winter Soldier. That ending of that season, it's beautiful.
So, Dragon, I'm sorry, anything else with your thesis?
No, just again, I'm kind of a sucker for What If, and again, I think the animation turned out all right. I mean, just to the voice acting point, that's kind of a thing that's kind of been in the industry and still going on. Where it's always you want to get kind of the experienced voice talent in the roles, but this is a very interesting scenario where again you want that MCU connectivity, where you want the actual voices in there, but there is like that turnaround time where they're coming in for the most part. I mean, I guess this depends on how the rest of the season goes. Probably for one episode, maybe a few more if you're lucky. So it's going to take them time to really get into those characters. You're going to need, and the key to good voice acting, you need a great voice director, which you can't always get Andrea Romano. So maybe that's a lot of that too. With Sebastian Stan maybe been a little out of his element, but again, I didn't really bother me. But I think it was more. Bucky didn't have the usual character dynamics to play off. I think that's why it sounded off. I think it's more a writing thing than a voice acting thing, but I don't know, it just didn't bother me. So that's where I'm at. Anyway, so I'm loving the episode. That's me.
Guys, I've got 2 words for y'all. 2 words that everyone is sleeping on, but I absolutely just went freaking gaga over. And it's like, as much as I love all the Peggy stuff, it's my favorite part of the episode. Hydra Smasher. or Stomper.
Yeah, Stomper. There you go.
Hydra Stomper.
Yeah, right.
Dude, Hydra. Are you freaking kidding me?
Pretty cool.
Here, take my money.
Oh, do you know what I bought today?
Oh God, what?
Okay, so I was debating which one to get, but then I saw it. It's an Amazon exclusive, so I had to get it. It's a Funko of my favorite shot of the episode where it's Captain Carter riding on the Hydra Stomper.
Oh, dude, are you kidding me? Like, I'm not even into Funko Pops, but like,
it's her riding. It's like her doing that shot when they started the '40s music montage when they're doing the first Avenger equivalent to taking on Hydra for about a year or so.
So essentially, I feel both of y'all. Dragon, is it safe to say you give it 5 stars?
Yes.
Okay, 4 stars. 4 stars, easy.
Wait, you give this episode 5 stars?
I mean, look, I acknowledge
Casey, like I said, this is a big time Captain America fan.
I guess we need to establish then what's your basis for giving it 5 stars? Is it all
a fan and he was served.
Objectivity?
Well, I mean, look, the main quibble I have, I mean, I guess I didn't mean to cut in on Tiki's thesis with this, but I mean, look, my main quibble with the episode is we draw emphasis to the one change. The Watcher does that, and I can get behind that. That's great. So it's like, what if Peggy Carter, instead of watching in the booth, like, I'm gonna wait here. I'm gonna watch it from here. Basically, if you want to put anything in there, it's like, hey, it's like we're not sending the women to the kitchen. Like we're letting them stick around, that sort of thing. You want to look for kind of something there. I'm sorry. What I'm getting at is, what if has its limitations with the voice cast and with certain things. And I feel there were some aesthetic changes. Like you notice all of our Hydra guys, they're not in like the full outfits. And basically there's a big story thing in this episode that really stuck out to me where it can't possibly be one change, but I forgive it because it's kind of the nature of What If, where, I know we're focusing on the one change.
Butterfly effect. I mean, it's never going to be just one change.
Well, yes, but here's why it's a problem for me. And again, it's one I can forgive because of that butterfly effect, Tiki, because of that nature of What If, where again, it's not like it's a multiverse thing for like, you have like all sorts of little changes that differentiate the universe. Where, okay, so the Hydra guys look a little different, but the change is that the Tesseract event is wrong, where we found the Tesseract a year earlier in First Avenger. We found it in 1932.
Yeah.
See, but again, that's me. I can live with that because it's What If. But again, because of that, I would say, okay, because of that and other changes, I can understand the 3.5 ranking because of things like that. But I literally
haven't seen this man ever give a Captain America project less than 5 stars, so you're just gonna have to live with it.
So I'm just saying, I understand the logic of I completely respect and understand the 3.5 ranking because again, it's not perfect, but I personally got a lot of fulfillment out of it, and I really enjoyed it. And again, it did kind of get me in the feels towards the end. I think things ended kind of rather good. And I think, I kind of looked over the flaws and the kind of the greater concept of the story and kind of what it achieved. I enjoyed it.
So then you are going off an entertainment rating then?
I would say yes. I mean, objectively, I might bite more in kind of the 3.5 or a 4 category, I think objectively, but it's a 5 is a lot for me though. I just think, yeah.
Okay, so so I see both your points, and you're both pretty. I'm sorry. So I absolutely agree that I think the episode could have done more with honestly, the Hydra Stomper, that was like my big thing. Like that was like, oh, okay, like this is like I am on board with this. This is legitimately like a big change from the movie. But I will agree that, it was kind of distracting. Like, okay, like I really do hope that the Guardians episode isn't like this, where it's not just like, okay, like instead of Peter Quill, we're swapping that out with T'Challa, and we're kind of just going over the same scenes. Like, I hope that the Guardians episode gets a little bit more, adventurous with kind of what territory to cover. But I mean, that being said, to Dragon's point, I do think this is it's a pretty well-rounded episode. I have issues with the ending. The ending is probably like the main thing where like, I get why they had to do it, but like, I don't know. It felt very half-baked compared to, the big moment in First Avenger. Like it was not it was not a one-for-one replica of that moment.
Which scene are you specifically speaking of?
I think he's talking about the
the
portal,
goodbye
right?
scene where Peggy's pushing the Hydra thing into the portal.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
Like
guys,
that it doesn't hold a candle to the to the goodbye in the first Avenger.
Well, of course not. I mean, this episode itself was what, like, easily a quarter the length of the movie, so there's
Right.
more
So
time to
what I'm saying is that I feel like by having to stick too close, like, okay, so they have to get separated and she has to end up in modern times. What I would have preferred is a little bit more development, with the Steve dynamic. By the way, I want to give a shout out to the voice actor because honestly, I think he does a damn good Chris Evans impression. I really do think he's
Yeah, Josh Keaton. He's his best known role, honestly, at least in my opinion. He's the best animated Spider-Man from Spectacular Spider-Man. He's an excellent voice actor, so he was in good hands.
So I really think he got into it. Like, I think that's a case of like a professional voice actor nailing the role.
Yeah. I mean, guys, to both of your points, man, Tiki, you kind of brought up the same thing. I'm sorry, dude. You want to finish your?
I'm just about done. Sure. Like, overall, I think this show has a ton of potential. Like I said, I dig the Watcher stuff, man. The Watcher stuff is like it scratches my Twilight Zone itch, man. It really does. And I also love that the event that caused everything to go down was so small. And I kind of hope that we sort of get stuff like that in the future. Like, I don't know, like maybe the Ravengers just took a wrong turn, and that's why they ended up in Wakanda instead of over the hospital where Peter Quill's mother was dying.
Mm-hmm.
I like those. I like the whole idea of like a very, very small decision, kind of like creating the ripple. Like, I can really get into that. Unfortunately, like I said, and I do agree with Casey, I don't think there was as much of a ripple as there needed to be in some situations.
So, I'm sorry, Casey.
I was just gonna. Well, no, you got yeah.
Okay, so guys, both your similar point about just kind of like the events of the episode, pretty much is like, okay, so we're just basically doing. There's not enough differences. My kind of snuffing that out, right? Basically, it's kind of like we're doing the same story, kind of similar beats.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, I would argue it's not a problem because, again, there's like a logical kind of like, again, there's kind of that logical ripple effect, though, where, okay, so this event changes, but then, again, we're still in the events of that story, but, then we apply the changes to it. So, again, that's what that story is.
But I guess, like, because Casey specifically pointed out, like, the specific, like, imagery and...
which is from the story.
Shot composition and all that. Like, I just... Like, at least visually, I maybe wanted something a little bit more dynamic instead of just like a greatest hits of a movie that's already pretty montage heavy.
Well,
yes.
I think it's going to depend. I think it's going to vary once we get into bigger changes or bigger alterations. I
agree.
I just think because First Avenger is montage heavy. We got to replicate.
What's funny about the First Avenger thing, though? I've heard people complain about this episode where it's like, First Avenger was forever ago. I haven't watched First Avenger. I don't get half of these references. I'm like, dude, just fucking watch First Avenger. It's on Disney Plus.
Right, if you're watching this, you probably can watch the other thing.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is I think the real reason why this was so similar to the first Avenger was actually because of the not even going to pretend to know his name because I don't. One of the head writers for this show, when he originally was creating the 30 original scripts for this show,
AC Bradley.
Yes, he was creating them as simplistically as possible, and because he thought he was going to be under he thought that the show was going to be under tremendous like tight budget. But then Kevin came out and said, "No, go nuts with it." And then so the rest of his scripts were definitely more crazier. And then of the 30 scripts, and of the 30 scripts that were written, Kevin chose 10 of them, and only 9 of them actually made it to be the first season.
From what I hear, because that one of those was like too close to like the actual movies that are about to come out. Like I want to say like, one of them was exactly what Guardians 3 was supposed to be. Like one of them basically lucked into being exactly Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, so they couldn't do it.
That's actually kind of cool. I didn't know that.
That's what I heard. I heard it was specifically Guardians Volume 3, so it's like, yeah, that's why it's 9 episodes now instead of 10, or at least that's the thing. And when they were choosing the scripts, I forget if that was specifically, I don't know if they got bumped to the next season or if that one just got taken. I don't know what the deal with that one is specifically, but it was shortened to 9. You know, towards like the week or so before, like I want to say the week of, we learned it was 9. Like, we had no idea this thing was going to be released. It was going to be like vignettes or what?
Oh yeah. Like it was a mystery for sure.
Yeah. I'm glad it's full episodes, by the way. I like that we're giving it time. So.
Okay, just want to point out some comments here. We've got a kind of a back catalog of them.
Sure.
Person I was watching with said Steve was this weak, scrawny boy, but Peggy was already a pretty fit lady, so shouldn't she have become a scary big bodybuilder?
Yeah, well, she did.
Honestly, I think her design, they definitely buff her up.
Oh my god!
Which it makes sense though. Yeah.
Yeah, look what it did.
I'm not really sure how much more buff you're looking for. Are you looking for like American Gladiator buff?
Yeah, she's basically what Steve was. I mean, compared to like she didn't start off like super scrawny, so it wasn't as a major like it's it's not like before and after. It's just like, okay, well now she's definitely stronger. Yeah.
I think the difference was tremendous. I mean, she already became way taller than the rest of the people she was with in the room.
Right.
Yeah.
And she definitely was, gladiator type, Amazonian type woman. Like that really did make her pretty big.
Yeah.
All right. I like Agent Carter season 2, but season 1 is infinitely.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, 2 is solid. Don't get me wrong.
I don't remember the sentiment of it being like infinitely better.
Well, no, season 1 was really good, Tiki. I mean, you got whole.
No, I know it was, but like I don't remember season 2 being like a bust. Honestly, that's probably just because I was grateful to even get season 2 in the first place.
Yeah, I think everyone has really harshed unnecessarily on 2, but hence that sentiment. But I mean, look, 2 is still. I'm saying if you compare the 2, that's why it's people aren't really like giving a lot of time to 2. Who cares about 2? I'm going to watch 1 for the first time, so 1's going to be better.
Honeybee poses a question: how long do you think it's going to take for the Watcher to interfere? Definitely not this season.
Yeah, I believe it's going to take we won't see the Watcher interfere till a movie, I'm sure.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's got to be in a movie.
Because remember, it takes the Watcher. Like it took Galactus for the Watcher to even like something. It wasn't even like full on. He was like giving helpful hints. He didn't really get involved.
Yeah,
like, hey,
I don't know if we ever will really see that in the show. Definitely.
Yeah. I don't think in the show. I think Jeffrey Wright popping up in a movie would be awesome, though.
I wonder if they're going to shake up how he delivers the.
What if Jeffrey Wright is the person that fucking informs the Eternals, like, hey, you got some crap to deal with?
Yeah. That would be very interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, I would assume that if they actually bring the Watchers back in speaking roles in the movies, that he would come to voice him.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Atomic Beast says, what if the Avengers assembled in World War II?
Well, that wouldn't be as exciting because you only have half of them.
Yeah. I mean, I honestly feel like we kind of got a little bit of that with the, with the Proto Iron Man.
I mean, if you really want to like say like differences, I mean, technically the Red Room was around in World War II. I know it was in the.
I can picture the Human Torch being in that equation, maybe.
Well, whenever we saw him, there's a what if for you. What if we saw the Human Torch in action?
Yeah.
Probably phrase it better, but yeah.
Okay. What if Bruce Banner became Spider-Man? I honestly don't even understand this question.
Well, what if Bruce Banner got bit by the spider and he became Spider-Man?
Yeah, I know, but like, I don't know. I don't really like. I guess I don't really know a ton about Bruce Banner's personal life, so it's like, I think he'd probably have a better time of it than than the Hulk. I mean, I know that much.
I actually looked into an old What If comic, just because I was flipping through them, and there was a really good one. It was What If Uncle Ben Had Lived. Such a good story.
Ooh.
It's really good. It goes in really interesting directions you never would have thought about. Like, oh my God, I didn't think about that. It's awesome.
All right, and finally, one last one. What if Agent Carter was canon?
In my world, there is no what if on that one. It is canon, darn it.
I mean, there's no reason why it can't be.
Yeah.
What do you guys want to hit next?
All right, let's see. Okay, we already kind of talked about the wraparounds with the Watcher. Again, very great send up to the Twilight Zone. Again, pretty much from what I understand, we are pretty much confirming that the events of Loki have basically put What If into action. That the Watcher's basically commenting all these multiverses in action now.
Yeah, I mean, well, correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't Uatu the Watcher of like our normal specific universe?
I don't remember. I know he's watching. Yeah, he's watching our universe. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure how the correlation would be with the multiverse. I'm not sure about that. I mean, we had a couple of Watchers. I don't know if maybe they changed that up or not. I forget what his specific assignment is. I assume traditionally it is our universe. Yeah.
I think that is like, I mean, I'm not a huge comic person. I always like to read like a lot about comics, but I never read the comics because as a kid, I had no clue where to start. Like every 10 years, they blow up the whole damn universe and start over again. It was too much for me as a kid to even try and figure out.
The only comics I read as a kid were the original 60s run of Spider-Man and the Marvel Essentials run.
Yeah, they hold up.
But yeah, I think literally he was the Watcher assigned to watch our universe.
Well, given this is an event that's probably going to affect our universe, I guess it makes sense to be checking in on it. I mean, I don't know if they're going to stick to that or how exactly that is, but maybe that's the logic. I don't know.
I mean, for the sake of consistency, just to have one consistent narrator, it's easy to just say, "Oh, it's Uatu,"
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we had the other 3 Watchers in Guardians of the Galaxy. Who I don't think they ever gave.
Honestly, like we don't know if stuff in Guardians Volume 2 is kind of like decanonized by now. To tell you the truth,
well, it's not that decanonized, really.
Adam Warlock.
Oh well, I'm saying they decanonized the first one from I thought you meant Guardians 2 specifically.
I'm just saying, like Guardians in general is kind of like wonky in the continuity train.
The Adam Warlock thing, yeah, that one is off.
I just kind of always assumed Adam would become the big bad for not season 3, volume 3.
Yeah, I know that's the assumption I think we're all working on, but just given the fact that we had like the different, we keep changing. Honestly, we just keep changing the cocoons, but I mean, it's still the idea comes from the thing, so it's not that big of a.
And it's like we have the original cocoon in the Mission Breakout queue, which
that's the thing. So
things more.
Yeah. Which also I meant to say earlier too when you were talking about T'Challa, being picked up by the Avengers. Now that's another thing I'm curious how they're going to tackle, because the whole reason they even picked up Peter was because of his relation to Ego. So why?
Right? Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
I guess we're going to find out.
I'm guessing that it's probably going to be something like they want to kidnap the Prince of Wakanda or something like that.
I mean that. It's something, yeah.
Like, I'm guessing the status of Wakanda itself is going to have something to do with it. All right,
could be that, or it could be they just kidnapped the wrong kid.
What?
Could be that, or they just could they think T'Challa was Peter Quill, and they're like, well, this isn't him. Let's screw the other plans. So we like this kid. We'll take him along with us.
I really hope it's more than that. Honestly.
I know. I'm spitballing.
Oops, wrong kid. Oh well.
Honeybee-esque.
All right. Honeybee says, "What do you guys think of the art style?" Honestly, guys, I love it.
Like I said,
up in the air.
What something not animating well for you with it?
No, I love cell shading. Absolutely love cell shading. And one of my all-time favorite video games, being Borderlands, is cell shaded. I mean, oftentimes I do think of, graphic novels when I see that kind of visual style. And I think to an extent that is exactly what they were going for. And obviously the animation style is exactly, they need to really make sure that they nail that down. Otherwise, it could really isolate audiences. Even with the tone that they go for, they don't want to make it too kiddie-ish because it could isolate audiences. But that's the thing. I'm up in the air. I have to see how the other episodes play out to see how it fits, as a whole, the whole show. It's hard to gauge off this one-off because you have that animation style, but then you also have elements of the 1940s like vintage style that they were also trying to fit for Captain America. So I just have to see how it's going to work. So I'm up in the air. I'm not opposed to it. But I think with certain elements and certain other elements with the animation style, it could make this feel a little bit more kiddie-ish. And Disney needs to recognize that its core audience is not kids. If anything, its core audience is probably averaged around the 30-year-old, 30-year-old male.
Honestly, yes.
I mean, I think teens too. I think they get kind of, the teens.
I mean,
honestly,
you were to
yeah, but the
average the
30-year-olds are the
ages,
ones with the
though.
disposable incomes.
But no, if you were to average out all the ages, the average age is probably somewhere around 30.
Casey, it's really funny, but yeah, as someone who's like, obviously Disney is like a huge like part of my life, and so as someone who's been following it and the trends of it in pop culture like all my life, you are very right. It is like there was a point in my life in the 2000s when like I would skip out on like legitimately like great movies like Treasure Planet, because I was like too embarrassed to be seen going to the movie theater as a teenager to go see a fucking Disney movie. It's like, my God, how things have changed.
Oh my God, yeah.
I mean, sorry.
I was just going to say, I literally had that phase of my life for like 2 to 4 years where I was just like, ugh, I'm not going to see this. Like, I'm too old for that. But then like, yeah, after like,
and every time I'd want to,
like, yeah,
that was the thing. Every time I'd want to go see them, but I'd be like, no, I've outgrown Disney. And then it's like at a certain point, I'm like, fuck no, I haven't outgrown.
Yeah, I mean, one of my all-time favorite movies is a Disney movie.
Right.
So like I love a lot of stuff Disney, love a lot of stuff Star Wars, a lot of stuff Marvel.
Yeah, I mean, I think that guy kind of has a point here. Like the core audience is 18 to older. To be honest, that's what he says. And I just like that there's kind of a little something for everyone with the MCU. I think that's kind of nice. There's a little something for everyone.
I mean, yeah, I agree. But once again, I mean, it's the same thing that they do with
Spider-Man movies kind of tend to play to a younger audience. Yeah. That might be why I'm not a big fan of them, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I get that.
Again, that guy says his thoughts on the episode.
Yeah, he says, I liked it, but not as good as its potential. I hope the second episode is better. I like the animation, though.
From what I understand, the next one is going to be, the T'Challa Star-Lord.
That is,
I think they put a promo
I'd
or
be
something.
Surprised if it wasn't, because that's everything I've been hearing.
Well, yeah. I mean, if we do look at the three, why they actually the list is released. I actually saw probably like,
is it really?
That's new.
Yeah, I was reading a list literally an hour before we got on this while I was eating. I'm fairly certain that's no. The next one is Tony Stark and Killmonger.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. I could have sworn it was that's cool.
Yeah, I could have sworn it was the Star-Lord one too.
Well, I saw like a promo or something. I could be wrong.
Yeah, and now unless this list, and it very well could be, unless the list is completely wrong, that's what I remember for episode 2 was Tony Stark and Killmonger, which also, if we look at the Marvel Legends on Disney Plus, the only other promos that came out for was the Avengers and also for the Avengers initiative, which I think Peggy Carter or Captain Carter could return for that episode. And in addition to that, we did see in one of the trailers or scene samples that Peggy is with Doctor Strange at some point too. So, I mean, I think a number of these episodes very well might connect.
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah.
Well, the big thing, assumedly, the big thing that they've been setting up is, we're going to perhaps see some of these characters in like Multiverse of Madness once they're established here. Like, again, assuming we kind of like pull characters from all sorts of places, perhaps Captain Carter would actually make her way.
Captain Carter would be freaking amazing.
It would be. And people have been really wanting to see, and that's what I'm saying. If she would pop, that would be the perfect place to kind of pop her up in.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're going to run into some problem spots, and you can't bring everyone there because, sadly, again, T'Challa Star-Lord would be unfeasible. So, you got certain handicaps there. But again, Captain Carter, absolutely possible, and Killmonger maybe.
Killmonger. I mean, I've been saying it for a while, especially once they officially introduced the multiverse in Loki. But I've been saying that the only thing that makes sense for me in the new Black Panther movie is if Killmonger were to come from another multiverse and take over as Black Panther.
Well, seeing that we're starting off 2022 with Doctor Strange too, I mean things would be in position, but then again, I don't know how orchestrated things are with the release dates, given how they've kind of been jumbled with Black Widow and everything at the start. So I don't know if how far ahead they planned on that front, but it's possible.
Well, they did what? They added 2 new movies to the end of Phase 4, not originally in the lineup.
I know they had FF seemingly at the end of Phase 4. I mean, I don't know. Black Panther was in there. I don't know if they had a date. I don't know. I don't want to recall it offhand.
Black
right
Panther's
now.
shooting right now. Like
Well,
that's gonna come out sooner rather than later.
Black Panther was revealed originally to be in Phase 4. The only 2 movies that they added into Phase 4 was Fantastic Four and Blade.
Yeah, that's what it was. Blade. Yeah. Yeah, we knew Blade was in the works. So they attached it to the Phase 4 lineup officially. Okay.
I could have sworn Blade was in Phase 5.
I know that's what originally it was, but I mean, if they attached it, it would have been.
I could be wrong, but I thought I saw Blade in Phase 4 officially now. Which also, last I heard, Blade will be played by Mahershala Ali.
Yeah, that's true.
Which also Mahershala Ali played the villain in season 1 of Luke Cage.
Mm-hmm.
So. I mean, I think the rights exclusively to Netflix have to be up by the end of this year. So the question is what are they doing with those Netflix shows?
Oh no, they've been
especially.
Up.
Okay. I'm surprised they didn't put them on Disney Plus. Then I couldn't remember how long their contract was.
That's a messier thing, from what I understand. It's like right now they don't have a place to put them because they can't, can't like do like a star version of the adult section of Disney Plus. They haven't given it like a name stateside. Only like overseas do they have like a name for
Disney
it.
18 plus. Disney 18 plus.
So that's what I'm saying. You have that. You have the fact that I don't think Netflix wants to let go of them. So that's kind of.
I don't think they do either.
That's where things are kind of hidden things right there.
The ironic part was that originally speaking, some of the original seasons like Daredevil season 1 and Jessica Jones, I'm like 99% sure back in like 2017, 2018, they were on Hulu because like the original seasons, like things expired, and Hulu is owned by Disney.
Well, I know it never popped up on Hulu, but you're saying the possibility of it going on Hulu for a time.
Like I said, I could be wrong, but I swear they were on Hulu for a brief period of time.
Well, if it was brief, it was very brief.
I could be wrong. Also, Blade is on Phase 4.
There you go.
Searched it up.
Oh, that's good. All right, let's see. Okay, so here, let me tie in some comments to a point I want to talk about here. So, again, speaking of the animation style, Honeybee likes stylized animation, and here's what I like about it. I really like it. It helps showcase the emotions of the performance. Because one of my favorite elements of the episode was one of the great elements from First Avenger. It's the romance, it's the love story. I love how we kind of kept that, even though it was on different terms. Between Steve and Peggy Carter here, where again, even they're very supportive of each other. They're in the field, they have each other's backs. As the Hydra Stomper and Captain Carter. And I'm so mad at Howard Stark for interrupting their kissy time. I'm so mad at him because that was a beautiful moment. And they're not going to have it again.
That was a great iris dissolve, though.
It was. As wish it was. Oh, that's the last time they're going to see each other, and Howard interrupted.
I've got to say, too, and this I realize could be an unpopular opinion, but if there was actually one thing I didn't like about the episode was their relationship. I found it much less believable in this What If than in the actual movie.
Huh.
Well, how do you find it less believable?
I feel like the thing is that it's been a little while since I've seen the movie, but I feel like originally in the movie, Peggy was interested originally in Steve due to the project. He buffed up. His qualities, were, exacerbated because of the super soldier serum. And then that is kind of the guy she fell in love with. She wasn't in love or interested in the scrawny guy.
I would 1,000% disagree with that one, sir.
That's perfect, and I that is perfectly fine.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
That definitely is my interpretation. There's other hills that I'm willing to die on, but this is not one of them.
Sure, right. No, to each his own. I do the other way. Sure, okay.
Plus, with Steve not being in Super Soldier, not really being a vital part of the army or whatever you want to say, I also don't see why he would be given access to the suit instead of one of the other soldiers. But I mean, obviously for Marvel fans, you're going to have to keep Steve Rogers in there because
it was Howard Stark's choice, really. And he likes Steve.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like if it were like in the reality of it, if he didn't have the super soldier serum, he almost would have been tossed to the side.
Right. So I'm sorry. Speaking of Steve, the Hydra Stomper. I mean, I love the logic of the Hydra Stomper so much. I love the idea. Okay, so we again, I'm not crazy about the kind of our jumping the timeline on this, but what have you. The point being, we have Captain Carter as a thing, and one of the things we do is she kind of takes the cosmic cube from the Red Skull, and we now have it in our possession. And it was always kind of a. I always liked to think in headcanon that was kind of the inspiration for the arc reactor anyway. So the fact that we use it as kind of the unlimited supply, kind of the already the shortcut to the arc reactor. Well, it's an unlimited power source. We put in the chest of this thing, and boom, Hydra Stomper. It made a lot of sense, and it was used to great effect, and again led to a really jaunty 40s montage.
But, speaking of that 40s montage, though, with the animation, that is, like, with the faces, I agree. The faces are great. You really get to see the emotion. I'm going to be curious to see how this animation looks without that kind of, like, 40s tinge over a lot of the scenes.
Which is exactly the point that I was trying to make earlier. Yeah.
I'm not saying it's going to look bad. I'm just curious how it's going to look.
Yeah. I don't know. Like I said, I do like, cell shading. I don't know.
It's a little Paperman-esque, eh?
What's that?
It's a little Paperman-esque, and I like it.
I mean, obviously, yeah, that is the point. I just wish there was maybe a little bit something more to the animation, because I think right now I'm getting like PTSD flashbacks to Star Wars Resistance or whatever. And
it looks a lot better than Resistance looks like crap. Come on.
Dude, that show has like one set of episodes that's good. Otherwise, that show was a complete waste of time. But I don't know. It is, like I said, I just have to really see the other episodes. I'm not hating on the style, because generally speaking, I like that kind of style. But I think I almost wish there was something a little bit more to it.
All right, I honestly wouldn't put it past the individual episodes to have their own flourishes in the same way that this one has, like, the 1940s thing.
Oh, I mean, from one movie to another, they all have their own styles too.
Right. So that's kind of what I'm hoping for.
Yeah.
Okay, some comments here. Let's see. The Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies will always be my favorite Marvel canon. I wouldn't say my favorite Marvel canon, but it's hard to beat Spider-Man 2 as far as my favorite superhero.
More Spider-Man canon than Marvel canon, just given the fact that it's only the universe of Spider-Man versus really kind of the Marvel universe. I'm just saying,
there's something like Spider-Man 2 is like my Richard Donner Superman. I mean, it's hard to top.
It is pretty great.
All right. Let's see. I respect your opinion. It's been a while since I watched them, but I just can't agree with that.
In response to that,
yeah. Honeybee's responding to that guy who says, the only Marvel Netflix shows I actually like are Daredevil and Punisher. It's funny. Daredevil is clearly like way better than all the other ones.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yes.
Oh my God, yeah.
Without a second's hesitation, yes.
I will. Punisher, like, I did not like Punisher season 1, but I liked Punisher season 2. So
I really like Punisher season 1. Nothing against 2, but I like 1 better.
I don't know. Like, I haven't finished Jessica Jones yet. Like, all the others are just so wildly inconsistent. I really loved Luke Cage season 1. Like, I even appreciated the stuff after Cottonmouth gets killed off. But holy crap, season 2 just was awful. Just awful.
I did love the way they ended season 2, though. Season 2 ended really well, which made it all more disappointing that it got canceled.
Yeah.
But I feel like everyone could at least easily say Daredevil's number 1, Punisher has to be in the top 3, and the worst has to be the Defenders.
Well, Iron Fist, come on. Iron Fist is worse than Defenders. Defenders has like 4 good episodes out of the 8. At least half of that's good.
I'll also say that with Iron Fist, I had very low expectations, and then I guess was surprised that it.
Yeah, I can sign off on that. Honestly, I can sign off on that. Defenders did not do, like, Dragon, you know how much hype and how much speculation we put into Defenders. Like, yeah, it had some good episodes, but at the end of the day, it was not what it was built up to.
But I mean, literally, it's like up to like a point where up until that subversion where they kill off a certain character, it was a smooth ride. But then that's where things get choppy. I don't think that puts it below Iron Fist. Far from it.
I don't know. I see what Casey's saying though. With
It's
like Iron Fist is like it's Iron Fist almost kind of like for me dips into the so bad it's good territory where it's like some of the characters are just like bafflingly like melodramatic. Like, you know me, Dragon, I love my Ward Meacham.
Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying. I mean, I think Iron Fist is definitely bottom tier for the Netflix shows, but Defenders was just, man, that was painful to get through. Yeah, I don't know. The only other, and like I said, Iron Fist, I had low expectations. I was actually surprised with how much I enjoyed it. Aside from the Defenders, the only other show that was painful for me to get through was the first season of Jessica Jones. Here's the thing though, once I was finished the first season, I loved it. Once Jessica Jones finished as a series, I really loved it, which is why I would put Jessica Jones as number 2 overall.
All right. So Super Billy drops in here. He says, my thoughts on Disney Marvel's What If Episode 1. DC still prevails when it comes to animated projects by a million miles.
Just to speak on Marvel animation for a second. It's always been one of the most crying shames to me because Marvel has such a wealth of stories over so many years. I mean, Spider-Man alone, beyond like you could do like Secret Wars or God knows what else. And it's just the fact that they have like a brief line of animated movies, like one line versus like the still going line of DC movies. Their shows have been forgettable with the exception of 2 major ones. Let me rephrase that. Their attempts at, I don't know. I mean, like they do not have a DC, they don't have a DCAU by a mile. The closest
X-Men and Spider-Man.
That's what I'm saying. I'm sorry. Let me rephrase. They have 4 shows total if you include those 2. You got the 2 90s shows. You have Spectacular Spider-Man and Earth's Mightiest Heroes. That's your lineup. But everything else, and the fact is, like they've done probably more shows than DC.
I think it's way too early to say that What If DC is beating Marvel by a million miles just on What If.
My point is they have not had a good show since Earth's Mightiest Heroes, and I think this is like good. I think this is the good show that we have not had for that many years. I mean, I'm on board with the first episode. We'll see how it goes, though. But
also Super Billy does say animated projects. There are more than just the shows. I mean, if you look at like the Batman, The Dark Knight Returns, those 2 parts, those are freaking awesome.
Yeah, they are. Yes.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely awesome.
Long Halloween as well. I haven't seen Long Halloween Part 2 yet, but Part 1 blew my socks off.
Yeah.
I mean, also with that, you do have to think about what are we officially bunching together, because I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, Dragon, because you seem to be more knowledgeable in this, What If is technically the first official Marvel Studios animated project.
Oh yeah, this is yes, very much so. Yeah.
So you can't really compare a whole history versus one episode of a single show.
Yeah, for sure.
So by default, DC is still better.
Yeah,
in terms of animated projects.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
All right, guys. Any other things we need to hit on the episode?
Well, I mean, I guess maybe the third act, but I mean, like, how do you feel about? So we should talk about a lot of people.
What do you think of Zola? Zola, I think, had a really short but sweet role in this episode.
Yep.
He had his little comedic punch, and I think that was pretty much it, and I was fine with that. We got this.
But what I really loved the moment where it's like, I will tell you nothing. He told me everything.
Yeah.
That was perfect. That's all I needed from Zola. That was perfect.
Yeah, that's the exact point I was making. He just had his little comedic moment, and I was perfectly fine with that.
Yeah, we did kind of the comedic version of the steak scene, with Captain Carter.
And with the I mean, I think the first act was a little rushed, but then again, I think it's already been set up in the original first Avenger. So the other two parts, I really enjoyed. As for the third act, another thing that they did change about this universe, you were talking about the soldiers earlier this episode.
Yeah.
But when they're in the I forget what the building's called, but it's the church where originally the Tesseract was hidden.
Yeah, Tomberg. They're in Tomberg, Norway. Yeah.
Yeah,
Or Tonsberg, whatever.
The wall that houses the Tesseract was changed because
yes, it was.
Yeah, and so you see the tentacles that are supposedly wrapped around the Tesseract. Now, originally speaking,
it was the tree from Norse mythology. Yes.
Yeah, the Yggdrasil.
Mm-hmm.
But originally speaking, I thought this might be foreshadowing that when they open the portal, it's going to be Hive. But then it didn't end up being Hive. Now, for those who didn't see Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.,
Season 3, I believe.
Yep, Season 3 introduced Hive, which was literally the remaining Hydra members were trying to summon and also appease Hive for all those years. And I was like, oh my God, that's perfect, because you do get to see Hive's original form in one episode, I think, of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So I was kind of thinking, it's going to be Hive. And I thought that was like really interesting. But yeah, I was fine with it. And then obviously we had the ending with Project Pegasus. So I was cool with that. I think that's going to probably lead into maybe an Avengers episode with Captain Carter.
Yeah, I know she's come back. It's the question if she's going to come back in like another episode, like an Avengers, like a what if around the Avengers this season, or if it's going to be. I know she's going to come back next season. I know that much for a fact. So I know we're definitely going to see like the man.
I'd honestly be really surprised if she didn't come back this season.
Yeah,
I just think the way that they set her, the way like it's practically a cliffhanger.
I'm just saying the 9 episodes. I know it's like only, honestly, it's really only minus 1 episode. I don't know why I'm thinking, no, they can't possibly do it this season because there's not enough episodes. Only 1 episode.
Dragon Loki had 6 episodes. Look how much storytelling Loki did.
I know, but that's also an hour, though. So it's like, well, sorry, you're right. I'm sorry. Let me redact. You're right. But I don't know. Regardless, whatever, I'm really excited with that ending. Just the fact of, okay, now we're getting next episode. Ideally, what we could possibly do with her is kind of a Winter Soldier equivalent. We could do like the Woman Out of Time story.
Okay, I'm glad you mentioned the one thing I want to hit on that I do think was a missed opportunity. When Steve fell on that bridge, my initial thought was like, oh my God, is Steve going to be the Winter Soldier?
Well, he was captive, and we don't know if they did anything to him. The implication is that they got him before they did anything to him, but we don't know.
I mean, I at this point I'd be shocked, but I do think that like going on the rescue mission and seeing him completely alive and that kind of spoiled that plot thread for me. Like that was a potentially super exciting plot thread.
I'm still excited just to kind of be in that space next time we see her. There's the fact we're going to do the Woman Out of Time. So
sure.
Kind of cool. Yeah. I'm sorry, just to the kind of our not Hive, but kind of like our big kind of Hydra monster-esque thing. Some people have speculated that's a big Doctor Strange 2 villain. I don't know what the deal is with the Doctor Strange 2 bag. Again, there's so many people are thinking Mephisto, they're thinking that, they're thinking Nightmare, which I think this thing technically ties into. If it's that, like Shuma Gorath is what this big old tentacle monster is called. And it's very memorable from the Marvel Capcom games. It's the big one-eyed squid monster thing. So it's a question of how on the nose. I think honestly what I think it is that they wanted a fill-in for Hive. I'm pretty sure that's what it is, and that is kind of like, I mean,
they should have did Hive though. That would have been perfect.
They should have been, but that's the thing. Can you refresh my memory? Did we ever see Hive in like a kind of something tantamount to this, where he's a giant squid monster? Or is it just like they sent the guy who has a squid face?
Now we saw like the Davy Jones like squid face.
That's what I'm saying. That would, I don't know. That probably would require more explanation for him. That's why I think it's why they opted not to go that route. But also they're on the fence about the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. continuity thing. I think they were scared to do Hive, and also it might have been a hard sell in 30 minutes. I think Hive would have been cool, and it would have made sense because again the whole Hydra Patriot thing. I think they tried to streamline it, unless either that or there's some Doctor Strange foreshadowing, one of the two, but we won't know until we see Doctor Strange, I guess.
I think that's the thing. I think it's more likely because it's probably helping set up Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
We do know that Shuma Gorath is going to be in Doctor Strange 2. We also know that Kang the Conqueror is going to be in Doctor Strange 2. So it's just another character that we know.
But could you just put on some optimism for Kang the Conqueror, Tiki?
Never.
Also, I just wanted to say to Honeybee, because I saw that you posted a couple times, Red Skull looked goofy too. I think that was just the fact that it was that red color in the shell shading, format. It probably did look a little weird. I think I agree with you.
Honestly, Johann Schmidt looks more off to me than Red Skull does. I don't know. It's looked to me because some with the likeness just didn't jive with me there. But it's
all right.
It's fun. But yeah, actually, shout out though. Super Billy says the guy voicing Red Skull did a really solid impression of Hugo Weaving impersonating Werner Herzog, which
That's
is funny.
Accurate, yeah.
But actually, that guy, it's Ross Marquand, if I'm saying his name right, the guy from The Walking Dead who took over the role of the Red Skull in the MCU when we got him in Endgame. Yeah. Yeah, so I thought it was cool that we got him, kind of taking on that role because it made sense.
Let's see. So Super Billy's calling out, anyone get the impression the third act ripped off the opening of Del Toro's Hellboy? Nazis opening a blue portal to unleash a Lovecraftian horror from another dimension.
I did jump to that though. Like when I saw the tentacles, oh god, it's like the opening of Hellboy. That's kind of cool though. Yeah, but
you're not alone, Super Billy. You're not alone.
Wasn't necessarily put off by it because it was cool.
That guy has a very illuminating point. Red Skull just looks goofy in general. I can kind of sign off. Okay, guys, I think we've pretty much
the Avengers link up at the end. I mean, we kind of talked it up a little bit, but yeah, it's exciting. We got I love that we put her in the place of Loki with that moment from Avengers. That's really cool.
And look, it's Hawkeye.
Yeah.
Everyone's favorite Avenger, Hawkeye.
There's something I'm wondering from you, Tiki, because you adore the ending of Captain America: The First Avenger with I had a date. So this is kind of a different take on that because again we
it's Dragon. This is kind of what I was saying at the beginning. This is one of my flaws of the episode. I think it's a little watered down from the impact we get in the ending of First Avenger.
I really like her delivery of it though. I think it conveyed that sadness. Like we won the war. It's like hey, we won the war, but she's lost so much.
It's no, I had a date though.
Well,
it's no, I had a date.
You're not wrong about that. But again, that's the thing. It's a what if. It's it's not the original though. It's why it's going to be different.
All right. Let's see. Super Billy says we know for a fact Captain Carter will appear in a future What If episode based on the trailer. She'll meet up with Doctor Strange.
We have this evil look. I don't know if he is going to be evil. He looks awfully sinister in the glimpses we have of Doctor Strange.
He's honestly probably just pissed off that the multiverse is going down like this, dude. Just annoyed. The multiverse ruined his Christmas with Wong.
I mean, who knows what's going to happen with the Doctor Strange storyline in these what ifs? Because we know that Tilda Swinton will reprise her role in them too.
Yeah, it's the ancient one. Yeah.
All right, guys. I think we've pretty much covered it.
Yeah. I think so. Just let me get your opinion on one last thing, and we'll wrap this up. What do you think of Bradley Whitford just in general? Is that just that character?
Dragon, I think he was fine for not being Tommy Lee Jones. That's all I'm gonna say. I was wanting Tommy Lee Jones so badly.
His character was in it.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, they got killed off because they couldn't get Tommy Lee Jones.
I didn't even notice that's who got shot the first time I watched this.
I'm with you. I kind of missed it the first time too because I figured he was there, but did I see him? I gotta go back, and yeah, there he was.
So yeah, for not being Colonel Phillips, he's fine.
Yeah,
I mean Colonel Phillips is one of my all-time favorite MCU side characters. So.
I'm not kissing you.
Yeah.
Cow.
All right. So let's see. Big thanks to Super Billy, Honeybee, that guy, General Super Duper Sex. Super Billy. I mean, it's like Colonel Phillips is those things, yes, but it's like he's like the epitome of a Tommy Lee Jones performance. He's not Tommy Lee Jones personified.
He's not talking about Phillips, Teak. He's talking about Bradley Whitford, John Flynn, who is very.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I will put that on the screen. Yeah. Yes, absolutely. That guy. That's one of the problems I had with Whitford is very over the top, like it wasn't as bad as like the Rick and Morty episode that shall not be named, but it was kind of getting there in terms of like, oh, you're lucky to even be in the room. Although she did have a good comeback for that later.
That was a lot.
Was her comeback.
Yeah. All right. Okay, so Super Billy, that guy, Honeybee, and I don't think I'm missing any. Atomic Beast. Atomic Beast. Yeah. Big thanks to all y'all. Just a couple reminders. You can check out Casey's Prometheus web series in the link in the description to the Facebook page and the YouTube channel. Currently the cast is being revealed. And also, like I said, guys, I'm really excited to get the ball rolling on these polls. It's all good. It's all good, Super Billy. You got plenty of time in. No need to apologize for being late. Happy to have you. It's all good. I'm really excited to get Super Billy. Actually, one of the things, if you missed the beginning, is with the poll that I put up on the community page. So every episode going forward of What If, and probably every episode that we talk about, on a weekly basis going forward, I'm gonna put up a poll. And I'm looking forward to kind of doing a community ranking of the episode based on the poll results. So, definitely be on the lookout for that this Wednesday when I drop the poll for What If Episode 2. And in the meantime, that's it, everybody. That'll do it for us this week as we holster our remotes till the next installment calls for the draw. Mono y mono. Just Plus and Us.
That was brilliant.
Scheiße.